Today we're going to start the first of 3 blogs about penning. The first will cover what penning is, what skills you and your dog need to pen successfully. The second blog will be about penning for trials. It will be step-by-step instructions on how to pen, and then there'll be a video demo with one of my dogs to show as I walk you through how to do it. And the third one will be why points are lost at the pen and how to pen successfully. So let's get started. Penning is basically taking a group of animals that are in a large area and confining them in a smaller area. It can be done to isolate or sort or just get your hands on an animal that you want to treat. So there's a lot of reasons why you may want to pen. In the practical situation, penning consists of putting animals in a corral, on a trailer, or in a barn. As far as trialing goes, you're penning basically to demonstrate the skills that you and your dog have in confining sheep and controlling sheep. We are going to start with sheep because they are the easiest ones to learn to pen with. They tend to stay together, and they're going to help you a little bit by staying together. They aren't going to be anxious to go into a pen because they realize it's a trap, and they don't want to be trapped by 2 predators. And that's basically what you do when you pen. Okay. So in trials, there's 2 types of pens. There is the fence line pen, which would be, if this was your fence line, it consists of 2 panels, and there's usually no gate. The other type of pen is a freestanding pen. It is out by itself in an area, and there's a gate that opens and shuts. And that one is much more difficult because you don't have the fence as a barrier. So what skill does your dog need? Well, first of all, you have to remember your dog's a predator, the sheep are the prey. And so the sheep definitely do not want to go into the pen because they'll be trapped. The first skill your dog needs is square flanks. When you ask your dog to flank, let's say you're going to flank your dog around these sheep, you don't want them to cut in. You want them to flank and hold their distance. You don't want them to flank like this, because if they do that, they're going to push the sheep. And when you move your dog around the stock, especially in close work, you try not to disturb the stock any more than you need to. You try and keep them calm and relaxed so that you can push them where you need them to go. Now, the next thing you need from your dog are off-balance flanks. Now, an off-balance flank just means that if it's going to balance, the dog would be going out here to balance. Off-balance means they're moving this way. And oftentimes, when you're penning, you need to bring your dog toward you. And it's just a skill that's very important. And it's very difficult for some dogs to do that, especially in this situation, if they think they're going to lose control of the stock. Another flank that we use are bump flanks. Now, in this demonstration, this would be a flank. But a bump flank might just be a step or 2 to the side, and it might even be your dog just shifting their weight one way or the other. And because you're in a very tight situation and too much movement, and the sheep can take off on you or get away from you. So bump flanks are very important. And one of the main things that you need is a good stop on your dog. So you ask your dog to stop, they do it when you ask, and they stay stopped until you ask them to do something else. The next thing they need is walk in, which means walk in directly to the stock. And the last thing they need is back, which means back up while facing the stock. If they're here and you need them back farther because they are too close and putting too much pressure and you think the stock are going to explode, you want your dog to back away. You don't want them to turn tail and come away because then they lose control of the stock. So that's definitely not something you want. Now we'll talk about what skills a handler needs. Well, first of all, you need to read stock. And no matter if your dog has instinct or your dog doesn't, you have to read stock because you're going to be telling your dog what to do most of the time in this situation. So the main thing you want to try and figure out when you're reading this stock is to watch which way their heads are pointed, and their ears, how they react. And if you can pick out the lead sheep, let's say this blue one is the lead sheep, then you want to keep your eye especially on that sheep because where she goes, the others will follow. Another skill you need is to be able to give timely cues. which means you have to anticipate when you need to move your dog and when you need to stop your dog and flank them and walk them in, maybe back them out. So it takes a lot of experience. If your cues are late, you're going to have a lot of trouble. You're going to have to know how to apply and release pressure on stock using your dog and yourself. So you're going to be an integral part of this. It's a joint venture, moving the stock into a pen, and so you have to know how to do that too. So you're going to have to know when to move and how quickly to move, and sometimes you're just going to have to react, almost like your dog reacts, and just cover the stock. But most importantly, you want to, even though you're going to react quickly, you want to try and remain calm. Because if you get excited and you get nervous and upset, your dog's going to be concerned and their arousal level will jump, and also the stock will become more aroused and more skittish and more difficult to handle. So the best thing you can do is really practice penning without your dog. If you can get some stock and pen them without having your dog present, you will get a good idea of what needs to happen, and certainly start, with a fence line pen and not freestanding pen. So that's the start of it for this week, and next time we'll discuss step by step how to do it. Thanks for watching, and please spread the herd.